Recording started.
Okay, sorry for the delay, folks. Hopefully we got everything worked out. We won't have any complete meltdowns like we did a couple of weeks ago. But today we're going to look at a surprise ad and get it out and advertised this week. But we're going to look at iWordQ. WordQ is a word prediction program that's available for Macs and PCs. It's very good for kids with learning disabilities because it doesn't just focus on making sure you spell things correctly. It works on making sure that you know, if you spell things phonetically, it guesses correctly and whatnot too. And that can be, now they've got an app that can do this on the iPad. So I'm going to go into the word prediction area here. And you're going to see right over here, iWordQ US is what we're going to open and take a look at. iWordQ, it's a little bit more on the expensive side. It is $24.99 for one copy of this through the App Store. So there's a couple different modes. If we look across the top of this, the first one we're going to be in is writing mode. This is where you're going to do most of your work. You press this button that has the box with a pencil in it to get into writing mode. So what we're going to do is we can sit here and write. We can sit here and type into the iPad. It's going to do word prediction for us. It's going to be different than the word prediction or correction that Apple does. When we start typing something, maybe I want to type there's going to be a big snowstorm tomorrow. So if I start typing there, what you're going to see down here is a list of words that it thinks I'm trying to write pop up. So the more I add, the closer I get, you're going to see now it's got the word that I want. Now, if I tap and hold on the word, it's going to read the word out loud. So it's got that audio feedback as well. So if I didn't know if maybe the word they here, if I wanted to hear what that was, I can tap and hold,
They.
and it's going to read it out loud. And I know that's not what I want. Now what's nice here is you see the word there. When there's confusable words, there's going to be a little arrow next to it. When you see a little arrow, if you hold down on the word, it's going to read the use of the word in a sentence for you. So I'm going to hold down on this.
There. We are getting there by car.
And so if that's what I want, I listen to that example, if that's what I want, I'm going to tap on there and not hold it. I'm just going to tap.
There.
And it's going to put that into the document, and then it's also going to read it back. It's going to give me that audio feedback. As you can see, after I type one word, it starts to try and guess the next word that I'm going to try and type here. So I'm going to hit, see is, I'm just going to tap that.
Is.
And then A.
A.
And I'm going to start typing.
Big.
And then let's see if we can get.
Snowstorm.
That's what I want. I'll select it.
Snowstorm.
And I can keep going here and keep using that.
Coming.
That WordQ word prediction. Now, a lot of word prediction is just used to help increase speed. This does help you increase speed. However, the key to this is also that it helps make sure that you're spelling things correctly. That you know, if you spell something way off base, it's going to try and make sure it's going to be able to correct it for you. It has that audio feedback, which is key. And there, once we add a punctuation to the sentence,
there is a big snowstorm coming.
It's going to go back and it's going to read that whole thing back out loud to you as well. It's a pretty nice. I guess the one downside to this is if you start typing something and you go to hold down on it to hear it, if you don't explicitly hold down on it and you kind of bounce on it, it automatically takes that you want to click on it and it dumps it into your document. So you've got to be really careful if you're just trying to listen to make sure that you hold down and listen from there. What's neat about this too is you can use the speech recognition that's built into the iPad and then go back and kind of check and make edits based on your word cue. So I could tap the microphone on my keyboard down here and I could say, I hope the snow is done by Friday. Tap the microphone again. It's going to fill that in. I hope the snow is done by Friday. Everything looks good, but I'll show you I'll give you an example. If I tap on the word snow, tap on the words, I'm trying to tap on just snow. Let's try hope. So if I tap by the word hope, it's going to pop up what it would have tried to guess when I started typing that here. So I can almost use that as kind of like a talking spell check. So if it put the wrong word in, I could get that fixed using iWordQ that way. There are several neat options that we can deal with. Oh, I guess before I show you that, let me just show you where this kind of differentiates itself from a lot of other word prediction tools. They guess what they call creative spellings. Basically, if you try and spell something phonetically, it's going to try and pick it up and make the corrections for you. So if I say I didn't know how to spell the word giraffe, and I tried it like this, J-I-R-A-F, and I knew it was wrong, but I just sounded it out. Then we're going to get a list of what it thinks I was trying to write, and you see their second is the word giraffe. If I hold down on this,
giraffe,
it's going to read it. I'm going to say I want that one. I'll choose it, and it's going to change that word in my document for me. So you can go ahead and you can spell things phonetically, and you're going to be able to guess and get it there as well. Let's take a look at a few of the options here within WordQ, and then we'll look at what it does reading-wise. If we go into the options button, which of course, whenever we talk options, it's that gear-looking thing. The first option is word prediction. And so you can choose to turn the prediction on or off. You can choose to turn the usage examples on and off, creative spelling on and off. You could choose whether or not you want it to predict the next word. Some teachers don't like having it predict a word before you start typing something, because then they say a student isn't necessarily writing their own thoughts. They're just kind of being led into what to write by the program. So you can turn that off. Max predictions, I'd leave that at about 5. For typing speed purposes, the general rule of thumb is if you're over 5, you're spending more time looking in the prediction list than you are trying to spell the word. So those are your word prediction options. We look at the vocabulary options. You can add your own words into this as well. So I hit my words, and you can see there I've added my last name. So all you would do is type in the word and then hit plus, and it would add it into the vocabulary. And so now if we go back into the document and I start typing my last name,
giraffe,
it should eventually pop up in that word list. And there we go. After S-T-A-C-H, it comes up in the list. So I could select my last name if I wanted to there. I'm going to hit the, I'm going to hit this, I should crank up the volume for you on there. The other thing you can use is abbreviations for abbreviation expansion. Same idea here. You would type in the abbreviation, you would type in what you want it to expand out to, and then when we go in and type in WordQ and hit those 3 letters and a punctuation, space, or enter, it's going to expand out and save us some typing. So I've done my full name in there based on initials. Excuse me. And now I'll show you if I go in and type that. J-R-S, you can see it pops up in my list.
James R. Stahoviak.
As what it's going to expand to. So if I choose that,
James R. Stahoviak,
it expands out to that for me, and I've got that in my document as well. Under appearance, what we can change here is the color scheme or the font. What I like here is under speech, we can change the voice. You've got a couple options, Heather or Ryan. Those are your pretty standard iPad voice options. You can change pronunciations. This is key. My last name, it certainly doesn't pronounce it correctly if I just tap on my last name. This is how if I write my last name, that's how it would pronounce it. What I did is type in the original in that top line, and then type in how you want it to be said. And you can see I spelled it out phonetically, and it popped up in here once I hit add. So now when I hit my name, it reads it the way it's supposed to read it. So you can change the pronunciations in there as well, which is key. Simple things to make a new document. It's this little guy up here, the paper button. You tap that, you hit add, you name it, and you've got a new document there. There is reading components built into this as well, and there are a couple ways we can do that when we're in typing mode like this. If we want something read, we can tap on it and we can hit the word bubble next to the pencil here, and then you see a little play button pops up. We could select as much of the text as we wanted to and have it read that way. The other reading mode that we have here is for, when we want to review an entire paper. Now, I don't know, we can't bring papers into this, but if we wanted, so we couldn't bring like a PDF into this and have it read. But if we hit reading mode, well, I'm going to open up another document that's already on here. We'll open up Welcome to WordQ. And if we hit reading mode, what we get is this thing where if we keep the play button in the middle here and we hit play,
welcome to iWordQ.
It's going to read just that line. If we move that, if we take the play button and slide it up, now we have it set so that every time we hit play,
welcome to iWordQ.
Now it should jump to the next line. And then we hit it stops and waits for us to read it. So this is a way that people can kind of self-pace listening to a document to proofread it. We take the play button, excuse me, down to the bottom. Now it's going to read continuously for us. So we hit play.
We hope that you enjoy using iWordQ for your writing and reading pleasure. Begin by creating and naming a new document.
It would just keep going until we hit pause or it hit the end. Another thing that we can do in this, if there's something that we want to have read, we can just take and kind of highlight one word and then drag our finger across to where we want to stop.
And by creating and naming a new document by tapping the file.
And it automatically goes ahead and does that for us and reads that. If we go up to the word options here, we can also turn on text chunking, where it's going to parse out these sentences into chunks, and it's going to pause in between to kind of maybe make it a little bit easier for people to follow along. So for example, if we're at this point now and we want to read this sentence.
Begin by creating and naming a new document by tapping the file icon in the menu.
So whereas that may not work for some people, for other people that might be a way that's going to help them be able to comprehend a little bit better by listening in smaller chunks like that. And with chunking on, you can see up there the pause time. We can change that. We can change the reading speed. We can change the line spacing as well. But that's kind of a secondary feature of this. The primary feature is the writing piece, the word prediction piece that's going to help your students with learning disabilities that might struggle with spelling, might struggle with writing, to be able to get their thoughts down on paper with correctly spelled things. The last thing I want to point out is if we look up here where we've got the arrow coming out of the box, that's where we can move it from here. We can email it, print it, copy it to a paste board, open it in something else. We do have also an option under settings. If we look all the way at the bottom here, there's a Dropbox feature, so we can link this up to Dropbox, and if we have we have multiple areas where we can open up this document. Then we could open it on the computer. We could write something on the computer, open it in iWordQ through Dropbox. The iPad features piece here, we can turn on and off auto correction, because sometimes when you're using the word prediction with auto correction, it can cause some problems. We can turn off spelling suggestions. We can leave definitions on if we want to. Lots we can do with the iWordQ program. So that's going to wrap it up for what I have to show you guys. Does anybody have any questions about iWordQ while we're in this today? Well, if you don't have any questions, I'm going to just wish you guys a happy holidays, and we're going to be off next week. We will come back at it with something, and not sure what we're going to talk about yet, on January 2nd, the first Wednesday of the new year. We'll start up these webinars again. So thanks for watching, and as always, if you ever have questions, you can contact me off of this. Have a good holiday season, everybody.